الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده على من لا نبي بعده ولا أمة بعد أمته ولا كتاب بعد كتابه ولا شريعة بعد شريعته أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نساؤكم حرث لكم فأتوا حرثكم أنى شئتم وقدموا لأنفسكم واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم ملاقوه صدق الله العظيم. My dear respected elders and brothers, one of the distinguishing characteristics of this deen is the aspect of haya and modesty. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had said, Inna li kulli shay'in khuluqah wa khuluqul Islam al-haya. Each and every religion has a specific characteristic which the religion lays special emphasis upon. In Islam, it is modesty. It is haya. We keep haya all the time at the back of our mind. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Islam has given us beautiful comparison between haya and behayai. Haya और बेहयाई में नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने अल्लाह ताला ने हमें बहुत ज्यादा सही तरह से उन्होंने समझाया. अल्लाह ताला says यअमुरुकुम अश-शैतानु यइदुकुमुल फ़क़्र व यअमुरुकुम बिल फ़हशा. Shaitan commands you immorality. शैतान बेहयाई की तरफ बुलाता है. कुल इन्नमा हर्रमा रब्बी अल फवाहिश. अल्लाह ताला बेहयाई से रोकता है. Allah Ta'ala prevents you from behayai. Allah Ta'ala prevents you from immorality. Al-haya'u min al-iman, wal-iman fil jannah. Haya is part of iman, iman takes you to jannah. Wal-bada'u min al-jafa, wal-jafa'u min al-nar. Vulgarity is part of immorality, takes you to Jahannam. So look at the beautiful contrast. Then there is one very beautiful incident, I made mention of it previously. One day, Amirul Mu'mineen fil Hadith, Shu'bah bin Hujjaj was traveling on his camel. Abdullah bin Maslami al-Qa'nawi, the gangster of the time, when he said something, people accepted. उनके खौफ की वजह से लोग जो है ना उनको उनके जो वो कहते थे लोग जो है ना वो करते थे, क्योंकि वो गुंडा था. Gunda, he was a gunda of the time. So he caught hold of Shu'bah's camel and said, Shu'bah, tell me a hadith. Hadith सुनाओ मुझे. तो Shu'bah said, ये कोई hadith का जगह है, मस्जिद में चले जाओ, चलो वहां पे मैं सुनाता हूं. Go to the masjid, I will teach you a hadith. This is not a place for hadith. He said, you tell me a hadith, otherwise you know my reputation. I'm a gunda. You know what I'm going to do to you. So Shu'bah made mention of a hadith. He said, إِذَا فَاتَكَ الْحَيَاء فَفَعَلْ مَا شِئْتَ. Maybe he told it because of his situation. That if you don't have haya, you don't have modesty, you can do whatever you want. अगर आदमी के पास हया ना हो, तो वो कोई भी काम कर सकता है. Whatever he wants to, he can do. So he had such an impact upon him that he stopped. He went to go and learn hadith. And he became the transmitter of hadith. Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi narrates from him. Because of this one hadith. إِذَا فَاتَكَ الْحَيَاء فَفَعَلْ مَا شِئْتَ. When modesty goes, you can do whatever you want. Now Islam has laid a lot of emphasis upon it. Many aspects of Islam is because of its emphasis upon haya. Why must women dress with modesty? Allah Ta'ala in the Quran says the first act of shaitan, Ya bani Adam la yaftinannakum ash-shaytan kama akhraja abawaykum min al-jannah yanzi'u anhuma libasahuma. One of the first acts of shaitan was to remove clothes from human being, to make him naked. The first temptation, shaitan seeks immorality. So shaitan, the first thing he did was, made Adam alayhi salatu wasalam eat from that tree, the result of which he needed to relieve himself, he had to shed his clothes. And Allah Ta'ala says, O Bani Adam, don't let shaitan make you reveal your nakedness. The aspect of clothes and having haya in the way you dress, both for male and female, is part of Islam's emphasis upon haya. We can go and say what today the men and women are dressed against haya, against Islam's emphasis upon haya. قل للمؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم وقل للمؤمنات يغضضن من أبصارهن. Part of haya. Tell unto the believing males, put your eyes down. Don't go and see things that you are not supposed to see. Don't go and see naked pictures of women. Or don't go and see women who are strangers to you. Not only for men. Tell unto the believing females, they must put their gaze down and not look at men whom they are not supposed to look at. From both sides. What is this? Islam's emphasis upon haya and upon modesty. Now, an important aspect with regard to haya, and I need to be today a little bit open. I'm going to be a little bit more what people normally do not discuss, but it has become essential for us to discuss. I suppose sab baligh bete hue na. Everyone is baligh, so we can make mention of these things. The aspect is one important, while Islam has got haya, it does not shy away from discussing issues which are natural to human being. Islam has got haya, but it does not shy away from discussing issues that are natural to human being. One of the most pressing aspects of a human being is the sexual urge. One of the most pressing aspects is this jinsi khwahishat. It's the most pressing aspect. Islam has not shied away with regard to it. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's hadith, Inna Allah la yastahi min al-haq. Allah does not feel shy to tell you the truth. And in this regard, Islam has given clear-cut guidance about this aspect on how to deal with this guidance. What to do in this particular regard. Unlike Christianity, Christianity looked upon the original Isaiah, to take pleasure in intimacy with your wife is a sin. You are only supposed to be intimate with your wife for the sake of procreation, only for the sake of children, not for the sake of pleasure. Islam didn't look upon it that way. Islam had said, procreation and pleasure is part of one side of the coin. It's not contradictory. It's not wrong to get in intimacy and enjoy the aspect of intimacy. Ye koi guna nahi. It is part of the objectives of nikah. And Allah Ta'ala has made mention of it. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had said, it is a sadaqah and charity. Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, is Allah going to give us reward for enjoying ourselves? For the sake of pleasure, does Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala give us reward? What did Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say? If you were to fulfill your desires in a wrong way, would you get sin? Would you be liable for sin? He said, yes. So if you do it correctly in the proper way, why mustn't Allah reward you? To do it in a proper way and channel your haya in the right direction, channel your desires in the right direction. And there is a particular aspect within that sanctified aspect of fulfilling your desire, it becomes a sadaqah, it becomes a reward from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today people have become fixated with this, and therefore we have a distorted version with regard to intimacy, sexual fulfillment, etc. And it is something that is very, very unfortunate with regard to it. And unfortunately we are going to have to make mention that one of the reasons for marital discord today has been the aspect of problems of intimacy between male and female. And this comes about because of the distorted version we get from the West, where women are regarded to be nothing more than objects of pleasure. One of the common concerns, one of the common complaints that come to social departments of the ulama organizations is this. Women say that men treat us nothing more than objects of pleasure and does not take into account our emotional needs which Allah has kept us with. And they have perhaps more emotional needs than what we have. ये एक शिकायत है वो औरतों की तरफ से कि मर्द हमें सिर्फ ख्वाहिशात की तकमील के एक खिलौना समझते हैं और हमारे जज्बात की कोई लिहाज नहीं करते हैं. This is against the Sharia. You will say, what is that the Sharia revealed this? Sharia has never been shy with regard to it. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha says that may Allah have mercy upon the woman of the Ansar, that they, for the sake of knowledge, used to come and ask even the most intimate and personal matters to Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It will surprise you and I that Sahaba at a time when other religions were regarding this act as guna and sin, Sahaba and Sahabiyat were asking Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam about positions adopted during this time. Is this permissible or not? So we didn't stay away from these particular aspects. And one of the aspects, since we are talking to men, would be that just as fulfillment, the fulfillment is something that a man craves for, it is also a requirement for the female with regard to her fulfillment. This is a fact. The right for fulfillment and gratitude in this desire is not only a right of the man, it is a right of the woman also. That is why Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught the Sahaba this. He taught them in practice and he taught them by the way of his tongue and his commands. One day he told the Sahaba and he said, don't come to your wives the way a donkey come to its female. Don't come. Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, what do you mean? He said, a donkey and animal will just be in terms of fulfillment. Don't you do so. Send messages to your wife. What do you mean? When you want to, you also have certain feelings. She also has certain feelings. Speak properly to her. Speak terms of endearment. Speak words of endearment. To this extent that Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, go and touch her properly. Go and even to this extent, kiss her properly before you go and do this. Now you and I today shy away from these things, but I want to read to you what Ibn Qudama. Now Ibn Qudama is one of the greatest jurists in our history. He is from the Hanbali school of thought. Ibn Qudama rahmatullah alayhi said, do not be intimate with your family and your wife until she experience the same desire that you experience. Do not be intimate with your family and your wife until she does not experience the same desire the way you are having this particular desire. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu had said that I like to adorn myself for my wife the way I like that she must adorn herself for me. Just as you would like her to adorn herself for you. Abdullah ibn Abbas, now I'm not talking about a modernist scholar, I'm not talking of Sigmund Freud. I'm talking about the cousin of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam who is saying this. That just as you like your woman to adorn yourself, herself for you, why don't you adorn yourself for her? Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day saw a person and his hair was disheveled. And there's two hadith in Abu Dawud. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, couldn't this person find a comb to comb himself? One day a person came with dirty clothes in the masjid. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, unko pani nahi mila? Didn't he get water to clean himself and dress himself appropriately? Look at this one hadith that also comes in Abu Dawud Sharif. Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day was going with a Sahaba, going to meet certain people. So Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Subhanallah, look at the words of the Arabic saying, Innakum qadimuna ala ikhwanikum. Oh Sahaba, you are going to go and visit someone. فَأَصْلِحُوا رِحَالَكُمْ. Make your conveyance good. فَأَصْلِحُوا لِبَاسَكُمْ. Make your clothes good. فَأَصْلِحُوا رِحَالَكُمْ فَأَصْلِحُوا لِبَاسَكُمْ. حَتَّى تَكُونَ كَأَنَّكُمْ شَامَّةٌ فِي النَّاسِ. Until you appear before people well adorned in the way you look in your appearance. Now, what is all this particular aspect? Why did Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wasallam say, whenever Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wasallam came from a journey, that time there was no WhatsApp, etc., to go and tell people, you're coming at this time, fetch me at the airport, I'm coming at this time. Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to come wherever he was. Used to camp outside Medina the night before coming into Medina. Why? That the woman, that time there were not bathrooms, etc., ready-made bathrooms, etc., so that the woman know the husband is coming tomorrow morning and make the necessary arrangements. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, although he was just almost on the outskirts of Medina, never used to come directly home. Camp outside Medina, everyone know the Muslim army is here, everyone gets ready. Now what is all this? These are aspects with regard to Islam's emphasis upon mutual fulfillment of rights, even in this particular regard. Now in this particular aspect, and that is a tragedy. The tragedy is, Islam has given us such beautiful guidelines. Fulfill your desires in a wholesome, natural way. If you do it, you get the sawab of charity. Islam doesn't look upon this as an act of guna or feeling guilty about. Islam says it is something that you should aspire to achieve. You should see to it that even your women get it, because if they don't, they will become vulnerable. They will start becoming tempted by other people, and that's a reality. If we don't do it in the correct manner, then this particular aspect they become vulnerable, you become vulnerable. If we don't pay attention to this aspect, which is an important aspect of nikah. Ya ma'ashara shabab, man istata'a minkum al-abad falyatazawwaj. Oh, you who are young, go and get married, because it will be the means of protecting your modesty. What that means, if your nikah does not preserve your modesty, it is failing in its objective. Now, on the other hand, we mustn't now go to the other extreme. And part of this particular extreme is, we have situations where there is such amount of hype and fixation about this act of intimacy that people have now gone to the other extreme. That when there is no morality left, there is no haya left, there is no boundaries left, there is no moderation left, then what happened? People go to the other extreme. Now look at the extreme of the West. They've gone to the extreme limits with regard to exceeding the bounds. Now, things that are naturally repugnant to a human being are not only regarded to be acceptable, they are glorified. They are glorified. Look at this aspect of the books of a certain shade of color. Look at the books. Look at the films that are going to be in. What is the major theme in this? The major theme is, in reality, aspects of going beyond the norm. Going beyond the norm. And in doing so, doing things which are naturally repugnant. As it is, the Muslim community, we don't speak to our youth with regard to this. They're getting their views about this from non-Muslim sources, from Google, from Sheikh Google. They're getting that from there. We don't speak to it. Our Ustatida don't speak to them in a responsible manner. They are growing up confused in these manners. What is the message and theme of this famous book? This famous book, which 80% of the buyers are women. And in that particular book, women are abused. A man gets sexual gratification by inflicting pain upon a woman. Now what is this? But who are the people buying it? The people who are buying it, 80% are women. What does it tell you about society? What does it tell you about the distorted aspect of intimacy that our youngsters are going to be growing up with? Is this the value that we're going to give them, that this is acceptable? Whereas our example and model is far more superior. It is something that is the moderate path between extremes. An extreme that does not allow that you go into a cocoon and say this thing doesn't exist and you're not supposed to do it or you're not supposed to enjoy it. And other extreme of becoming so fixated with it that you go beyond the limits of modesty or you go beyond the limits of decency. This beautiful aspect is ours. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has taught us, a Muslim is a Muslim for life. A Muslim is a Muslim for life. In his times of joy, in his time of sadness, in his time of celebration, in his time of exchanging gifts with his wife. Why do you have to choose a particular day? Why do you have to choose it? That particular day was invented as an honor for the previous paganist gods. It was first called Lupercus. It was started off on the basis of showing respect and honor to a pagan god, do you have to give gifts to your wife on that particular day, which initiated as a tribute to a pagan god? When Islam has told you, tahadu wa tahabu, give gifts to your wife and increase muhabbat. Now you choose that beautiful sunnat and you do it on a day which is dedicated to pagan gods. Go and do it today, Friday. Whatever you bought for tomorrow, do it today. Allah will give you a reward with regard to it. I'm telling you, because you will be bucking the trend and you will do it on a day which is more mubarak to us. And you will not be imitating someone. So this particular aspect, and even with regard to other aspects, why should we be taking our cue, even in every aspect, from other people? Islam is a complete way of life. Salman Farsi, one day someone came to him and said, your Prophet teaches you how to relieve yourself. Your Prophet teaches you how to go to the toilet. Today you and I, what we will say? No, it's not so important, those aspects. It's just the sunnah, it's never mind, it's not fundamental. Salman Farsi radiyallahu anhu said, yes, my Nabi taught us how to relieve ourselves. And then he enumerated what the sunnats were when you go to the toilet. He said, my Nabi said, when we go, we must not face the Qibla. We must not do like this. We must not do like this. We must do like this. A Muslim is a Muslim for life. Even in the aspect of relieving himself, and even in the aspect, in the privacy of his bedroom. May Allah give us the tawfiq of understanding and making amal. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.